Hi, this is Danielle Daws for UnityTV. I've coloured this image called Let Beauty Surround You on craft cardstock using Prismacolor pencils. I just wanted to take you through some of the details of that. Now, colouring on craft cardstock means that your colours are going to be different than what they actually are in the pencil. So for skin, I'm going to start with a base colour of cream, just so the other colours that I'm using will stay more to their true colour. The next colour that I'm using is sand, but don't worry, the yellow isn't going to stay there in the skin, it's just adding a little bit of warmth underneath. So after sand comes peach. So again, just a very light coating of peach over all the areas of the skin. And then the next thing that I'll be doing is blending and then starting to add in where the shadows are going to be. At this point, I'm not too particular about the kind of motion that I'm using with my pencil. From here though, when I'm using light peach to blend, I am using small circular motions just to get a nice even texture overall. So you can see here that it's looking quite pink now, so we need to add the shadows. So burnt ochre is one that I'm starting with the shadows, and that's quite a brown colour, which you might not think about for using shadows, but it is going to create a really lovely shadow, especially once we've blended it with the peach. So I'm just putting some of that burnt ochre in where the shadows would be, so around the hairline, where her hand is, along the underneath of her arms. So that's where you can see it looks like right now, but it's going to be blended out from there. So I'll take my peach pencil. So I'm doing those small circular motions again, but I'm not taking the colour all the way out to the edges like I did before. I'm letting the light peach stay there as a point of highlight. After I've done blending with peach, I'm going to go in with using black. Now black is probably my favourite colour of all to use because you can create some amazing shadow and some depth with that. But I'm just using the tiniest bit. It's much better to have to go back a couple of times to add more to the shadows than it is to be too heavy-handed in the beginning and need to try and go back and fix it. So I'm just using a tiny bit of black, just where I had the burnt ochre, but not quite as far throughout. And then I'll go back and blend burnt ochre again. So I know it looks like I'm using a lot of different colours just to get skin, but it's the shadows and the highlights that really create the effect that you want to get. It's not just the colour itself, if that makes sense. So after I've blended with burnt ochre, I'll go back again and blend again with peach. So you can see there that the shadows really quite pop out and make the skin much more realistic. Same for the hair, you need to start with a base colour if you want the colours to stay true to what they are in the pencil. So I'm starting with cream, and next one is yellowed orange. Note while I'm doing hair that I do try to keep the way that I move my pencil in line with the way the hair is flowing. So there are some fantastic lines already given to us in this image to tell us which way to go. So this colour that I'm using here is pumpkin orange, and I'm just using that to start deepening the shadows. What you want to do is choose where the highlight is going to be, and you don't want to add the deeper colours in that section. The next colour is terracotta, and I'm going to go back over where I just added pumpkin orange, but not take it as far. So it just creates that lovely effect of the highlight hitting a certain point on the hair, the sunshine hitting a certain point on the hair and highlight spreading across the hair naturally. So here is dark umber, and I'm just using that in the deepest points of where the colour will be, and going back blending all of that with yellowed orange. So you can see using flicking kind of motions there because I don't want to use those circular motions. I'm not after that kind of texture. So I'm adding a little bit of cream there where the highlight is going to be. It's not the final highlight though. And I'm going back again with black to add the deepest shadows in. So very sparingly, just where the deepest parts would be. Now the final colour is white. Just adding a little bit of highlights. You don't want to be too heavy-handed with white there, but it really does create a lovely effect. So for her pants, I decided I wanted them to be like blue jeans. So I'm starting with denim blue, just putting a light covering over the top of the pants. And then once I start putting in the shadows, you'll see it all starting to come to life. So the next colour is indigo blue. So where the lines are already given to us on the image, I'm going along and just adding a little bit of the blue to create the beginnings of where the shadow is going to be. They're going to be much darker, much deeper than this. So the next thing that I'll do is go in with black. And where the deepest parts of the shadows would be, I'm adding a little bit of black. So not as far as what I did with the indigo blue, but you do need to have a little bit there. And so again, this step has fantastic lines for telling you where the shadows are going to be. Going back with indigo blue, and I blend out the black. So it's just a process of adding the colours and then softening them, adding some colours and then softening them. And so once the indigo blue, I've blended enough with that, I'll go back with the denim blue and blend again with that. So that's to blend the overall pants all together. So shadows are a really important part of creating that 3D kind of effect. But the other thing that's really important are the highlights, like I already said with the hair. So I'm using white again, but it doesn't look like just white over the top of some of the other colours. On the denim blue here, it just adds that little glint of sunshine. So I decided I wanted her t-shirt to be white. I am doing the rabbit in exactly the same way, but I'll just show you the t-shirt. So I started with an overall covering of white, and then going in with French grey. Now the French grey is really lovely for adding shadows in whites. And then French grey at 70% to add where the deepest parts of those shadows would be, because I don't want to go all the way black. Back to 50% of French grey to blend that 70% out. And then I'll go in again in a minute with French grey 20%, and that softens those shadows all the way through. And then back again with white. So I blend again with the white. You can see that the white becomes more the focus of the colour again, and just allows those shadows to sit where they should be. So I'm using the same technique to do the shoes, and I've used the same technique for all the other elements throughout the entire card. But one final thing that I wanted to make really clear is that at the end you probably find that your colours have covered part of the lines. So you have a very sharp black pencil, so this is my Prismacolor pencil, but make sure it's very sharp, and very carefully go over the lines. I find going over very lightly, almost feathering it across, seems to be the best way to be able to get it across there. Because you want to be able to enhance some of the lines again, because you've got a fantastic image to start with, and you want to make sure that that really pops up. And that's how I do my Prismacolouring on craft cardstock. Thanks so much for watching.